Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here for our weekly webinar here at Coda. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Maria Marquis. I'm going to be your host for the next hour here. And at Coda, I consider myself the chief cheerleading officer. So I love just sitting down with people, normalizing learning, tinkering, playing, sharing some ideas, and just giving us all the opportunity to grow our skills. Hey, Karina, welcome, welcome. So good to see you. Always lovely to see my repeat offenders here in our sessions today. So in this session, we're going to be focusing on one-on-one. So really, how can we build a ritual of one-on-ones so that everyone feels prepared, connected, and we're able to bring in both the tactical needs and also sort of those longer-term career goal needs. So just as far as how today's going to work logistics-wise, I've got a lot of things I want to say, but ultimately, I care about what's on your mind. Today is about you and your questions, so you don't need to worry about waiting for me to stop talking before you can ask. At any time, if you've got something on your mind, I want to know about it. So over there on the right side of your screen, there is a chat field. You can go ahead and type whatever's on your mind. That's our public spot. And go ahead, just let me know you found it by letting me know, are you a manager or are you an individual contributor? Go ahead, let me know, are you a manager or an individual contributor? Pop that over into the chat over there on the right side of your screen. What are you? Or are you something else? Nice, supervisor, beautiful. Alex, welcome. Karina's a manager, excellent. Wendy's also a manager, beautiful, excellent. And just out of curiosity, how many one-on-ones do you need to do every week? Go ahead, pop it in there. Nice, Stephanie and IC, beautiful, excellent. Yeah, so let me know, how many one-on-ones, for those of you who do manage folks, how many do you do every week? Got it. 1 to 5, kind of depending on if it's bi-weekly or not. Beautiful, Alex. Karina, 1 to 6 for Wendy. Yeah, perfect. So just know that chat field is for you. Any point in time today, if you've got something on your mind, I want to know about it. Now, if you have a question, I would love it if you could just click on the Ask a Question button along the bottom of your screen. That way it logs them all there. I won't miss it over there in chat. And it also allows all of you to upvote or downvote questions so that I can answer the most pressing issues first. So that is your way to go ahead and get in touch with me. Got it. Yeah, Stephanie, even if we're not managers, we might do multiple one-on-ones. Perfect. Yeah, and the template that we're using here today can be used for the manager direct report relationship, but also maybe different peers that you're meeting with. So it's a way for you to use that as a jumping off point to then make it your own. Because that's my favorite thing about Coda, is that once you have a starting place, it's then up to you to just make it whatever you want. And we're going to be taking a look at some ways that we can customize here today using a template for one-on-ones. So again, remember, any point in time today, you got a question, Coda related, pop it in there. I will be happy to answer. Otherwise, sit back, relax. We're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share my screen. And if you would just be so kind as to let me know when you can see it by posting a yes, looks good. Wow, Maria, your screen is so amazing. Just give me some kind of signal so I know we've all made it through time and space. Nice. Okay, great. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so we can get a little bit more resolution. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is actually the template that we use at Coda for our one-on-ones. And the template that we use is inspired by this template, which was built by Jessica Powell. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this link, pop it over there into chat. Alex, you're the best. So that all of you can go ahead and make a copy of that if you like. But what I like about Jessica's one-on-one template is that it really is about simplicity and ensuring that everybody has what they need. So how this template is put together is this first part is just a little bit of a perspective on how Jessica thinks about running her teams, which I think is kind of fun to see. And then in the running your one-on-one, there's 4 different pages. There's a place for expectations, right? We're going to be really clear about how we work, how this is going to operate. It's going to have an area for our agenda. So what are we working on right now? An area for all the past agendas, and then also an area for goals. So if we click into expectations, this is very much about text, right? What are we thinking about? What do we want to do here? How do we think about how we're going to work? And also putting in our email addresses so we can have our email reminders going. Then the next part is the active agenda. So here's everything that we're currently working on. Got some drop-down menus, a place for us to email notes. And then our past agendas, this is just everything that's in the past. And then our goals, what are we working on? So this is the template that she put out into the world. And we were like, wow, this is really great. Oh, I'm frozen. Is my face frozen or my screen? Could you just give me a yes or no or a face screen in chat just to make sure that I can know kind of where we're at? Okay. All right, looks like we're okay. All right, well, keep me posted on how it's going. Hopefully the internet spirits will give us a good blessing here today. All right, so I'm going to go over here to the Coda meeting template. So like I said, this is what we use here at Coda, again, inspired by what Jessica put out into the world. And there's a couple things that we've made some adjustments to. So the first thing we did is, like most good docs, we put in an intro page. And this is actually put together by our head of people operations, how she thinks about where one-on-ones fit, how to get the most out of it, a couple links to different elements. So it's just really the perspective so that any new hire who joins, when they make a copy of this for working with their manager or the peer, they've got all the context that went into building this in the first place. Yeah, I will definitely give a link to this as well. For sure. I need to just make some adjustments and then I'll send it, but I'll post it into chat at the end of the session here today. Yeah, you're so welcome, of course. So the next thing that we did is we really liked how Jessica had that expectation setting portion. So we call this our partnership agreement because we really think about one-on-ones as being about two different people. It's not a power dynamic, right? We both have expectations for each other. So here we've included some prompts so that, I'm most encouraged to do my best work when, and putting in all of those expectations here so we can be really clear and upfront so nobody has to guess about styles. Then we have the manager bit, and then this idea of co-creating our shared expectations. So it allows us to share our working styles, our perspectives, our preferences, but also a little bit of a kind of build your own Mad Lib here of how we expect this to work so that we're co-creating this so that if anyone gets a new manager, everybody has this opportunity to decide what does this relationship look like so we can all be really successful. Also, just a reminder here today, you don't need to wait for me to stop talking. I'm going to assume if you have a question, you're just going to let me know by posting to that ask a question area. Again, no such thing as an interruption in my sessions. I really like the partnership bit because if I think about my own experience as someone who's managed people and also someone who has been managed, so often we don't take the time to really vocalize or say our preferences. We assume, everyone's kind of doing the same thing. We assume our style is the same across the board when it's all these like little adjustments that if we take the moment to sit down and go, this is how I work. This is what works for me. This is what's hard for me. This is something that makes me feel encouraged. This is something that makes me feel demotivated. It makes the relationship much, much more streamlined and more effective. So I really have enjoyed using this here. Now, the other thing that we included is this idea of meeting notes. So this is actually something we added because here at Coda, we are a very note-heavy culture. And part of that is because we're distributed, right? We've got people all over the United States. We have people who work from their homes. We have people who work out of offices when that was a thing. But we have a lot of folks who are distributed. And so we really take a lot of time to write down our thoughts and our decisions so that even if you're not able to attend the meeting because of time zones or maybe you're doing childcare, you are able to get all of the context. So we wanted to add about a bunch of meeting notes here. But we also know that there's kind of two different preferences, right? Some of us really like to just have basic text. Some of us really like to be a bit more structured. So in our template, we've provided two different options. So the first is what we call the flexible method. So this is just like, hey, let's be doing some prose. So how it works is we have this meeting template, which is essentially just some basic text with a drop-down menu of how we're feeling. I'm feeling meh. Today I'm feeling pretty good today. And then the manager sentiment, oh, maybe they're feeling bad. And then updates, discussion, and then some regular check-ins, right? So, hey, if you're talking about the beginning of the month, you should check out goals, which is a link to this page over here. If it's the start of the quarter, track development, which we'll take a look at in a moment. But how this works is that if we're going to have a new meeting, I just go ahead and copy. I'm on a Mac today, so I'm going to do Command C, and then I'm going to do Command V right down here, and I'll just name this, I think today is March 24th. And then now we have this here, right? So we can go ahead and enter everything in that we like. And then we also can just expand any of these past meetings here. Now, one of the pro tips that I have added to my template is I actually went to the options up at the top of this page, and I toggled on the outline. What this now allows me to do is it allows me to see all of the notes here, and I can jump directly to October 18th or October 25th or the November 8th. So I really like this for my own kind of scan ability. Yeah. March 23rd. Okay. Whew, I'm in the future. There we go. Oh, we're fixed. Great. Thanks, Karina. So this is one method, and I like this because it's really easy to get started. right? You just copy paste and you're ready to go and you just start typing. Now, some folks like the structured method because it allows to do a little bit more of, you can do controls, you can filter, you can do all that kind of thing. And it just sort of allows us to have more of that table thinking. And again, this is about preference, right? So here, how this works is we go, all right, we've got a check-in. So instead of that drop-down menu, we can go here and say, I'm feeling awesome. And, I had a great time gardening this weekend. And I'm excited about Coda Bootcamp, for example. So that's maybe my sentiment, how I'm feeling today. And then we can add the topics that we want to discuss. So biweekly check-in, maybe I want to talk about, let's see, what pizza options are available. Those of you who attend my webinars know that pizza makes an appearance many, many times. And then we can put our notes in here. So I can go ahead and just click on this cell. Notice I have this little expand cell option, this little arrow. This allows me to open that up, and I have a text field now. So I could go ahead and add basic text. I could add a checklist, numbered list, bulleted list, all those other formatting elements in here, and then click done. So then we have all the notes logged. And then over here, we have the action items. We can include whatever's going on. And then also we could say, hey, did we cover this? Yes or no. And if it's been covered, it gets filtered out of this view. So one thing I think is pretty cool about this option, so maybe we could say pizza time, and this is not a big deal. What we could then do is we could go ahead and click on this notes bit, choose filter, interactive filter, and create control. What this does is it creates a search bar for that particular column. So I could say, I want to search for pizza, and notice it shows that there. And I could say deal, not a big deal. So I think by using this search bar element with the structured bit, it allows you to have even more flexibility. So something I really enjoy. You could do the same thing over here for action items. For my team, what I have is I go ahead and expand this. We sometimes will make this just a checklist. So we can say, task 1, task 2, task 3, and then we can be checking them off as we go through. So that's another element here. But the idea is that you can go ahead and take this starting point and add whatever you want to it. If you don't like these columns here, you can just delete them or add another column to add more information. So those are the two note-taking options. Go ahead, post a chat for me. Which feels best for your style? The flexible text method or the structured method? What do you think? Go ahead, post a chat for me. Structured, flexible, what feels best? Or maybe a combination of the two. Also an option. What do you think? Structured, got it. Wendy's in team structured, Karina as well. Great, nice, cool. Yeah, perfect. Flexible, but probably use the table to highlight dashboards. Yes, Stephanie, you're getting at something really important, which is this flexible method might feel great, but then what you can do is you can always type slash and then do table and add a table in there, right? Maybe I want to do a new table that's just about action items, right? Or we should spell it correctly, and put that in here. And you could add whatever you like into that template and still copy paste every single time. Cool. Yeah. The other thing you might want to be able to do is if you've got your dashboard, Stephanie, in another page, you can do kind of like what we've done here with the regular check-ins and do a link to that page just by heading up to the hyperlink up here at the top and putting in whatever the page name is, and you'll have that right there. So that might be another helpful thing for you too. Cool, perfect. Because again, it's all about you and your style. A ritual doesn't work if it doesn't meet how you like to get your job done. So I encourage everybody to just go ahead and make those changes at any time, make it your own. That's when it really works. Oh, me too, Stephanie. Relational links and tables. Ooh, chef's kiss. I absolutely love it. Nice. So let's take a look at some of the other parts of this one-on-one doc. We at Coda do an OKR methodology, which stands for Objectives and Key Results. So we set our goals, our objectives and key results on a quarterly basis. And we're always trying to find better ways to really keep those goals front and center because it's so easy to just kind of forget about them, right? Life happens, or work happens rather. So what we do is we have a special place in our one-on-ones where we have a link for all of our goals. So here are the goals for the quarter. We can put the outcomes and the metrics. We can mark our progress, right? We can include notes, both from ourselves and our manager. And then we have this area of all of these are just little references. So this is draft proposal A. If I scroll down, notice it's right down here. You can do that at mention for anything inside of Coda that's a table or a person. So I could say, oh, set up team B. There we go. I can hover over it and be able to see it. So it allows us to have just a space where we can be checking in on these different elements, right? Checking in on the goals, keeping them front and center. Sometimes what we do, because here at Coda, we've got a giant OKR doc that we use for managing our entire company's goals. What sometimes we'll do is we'll cross-dock in the goals and filter it by ourselves. So cross-dock, what this allows you to do is pull in a table from another Coda doc and have that there. Awesome, we got a question. Let's go ahead and take a look. How do you know when to use templates in meeting notes or subpages? Sometimes subpages aren't easily duplicated. Hey, Stephanie here, I like to think about this as being totally preferential. Because honestly, I think when it comes to subpages, for me, it's very much around what what visual treatment am I looking for? For me, sometimes what I think about is with pages, you want to have one purpose per page. That's my guideline. I don't want to have a bunch of different things on a page because then it clutters it. It makes it harder to really find what I'm looking for. So what I like to do for my meeting notes is if it's for my tracking one-on-ones, we do the flexible method on my team with my manager, but we have one table up at the top for action items that is just consistently tracked, and then topics that we might want to talk about. So for that case, I like to just then have it be this full infinite scroll. It keeps it really easy. But for projects that I run, I like to have a separate subpage for each of those meetings for a project. For example, I'm doing a project right now, building out a boot camp for Coda users. So I have a bunch of different meetings with stakeholders. So I create a different subpage for each meeting with the stakeholder because it allows me to then sort through, what intention am I looking for? Where did this occur? And how I do that is I'll just go to this little ... choose duplicate, and then I can go ahead and say, this is meeting with Shashir. And I usually put the date, right? So I could say like March 22, meeting with Shashir, and then moving through there. So that's my preference. Stephanie, I'm not quite sure if that's if that gets to the root of your question. Let me know if there's something deeper, but that's what I would offer. Yeah. Excellent. So again, in my work, I find that I use both. Right? If it's sort of in the same theme, a standing meeting, I like to use that structured method one page. If it's for a project for distinct kind of intentions for each of those meetings, I like to separate it out. Perfect. I'm so glad that was perfect. Beautiful. Yeah. So the goals bit, again, when it comes to the option, you can have your own little table here where you're managing it. But the other thing that you can do is if you have those goals in another doc, there's no reason to have to duplicate them. Right? So what you can do is you can go over to Explore, to Packs, and right up here, you can search Crossdock. For those of you who might be new to Coda, a pack is just what we call an integration. It allows you to connect these different things together. So here I could say Crossdock. I would just sign in with my Coda account, and I could pull in whatever other tables I wanted here as reference. So I could just see what's been going on there. So then the other thing that we really are interested in here at Coda is this idea of tracking development, right? Because the fastest way to burnout is just being task. And if we don't take time to reflect on our growth, our career, we're missing a big piece of the pie. So we wanted to build that in to our one-on-one ritual. So what we did is we have a couple of these kind of starting ideas. So again, if we are sort of more verbal people, we have this descriptive approach, my desired career path and broader career goals, and just typing it in here. But again, for those who really appreciate that structured approach, want to have it in a table, you can go ahead and have it right here as well. Here's my growth goal, my plan of action, some ideas. And then we also have this learning-centered approach. So here are resources that we want to recommend. This, again, is about the style of the person. Because if you have me wanting to do something, I need to make sure it meets my style. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to grow and develop. So this allows us to kind of try a bunch of different things. And it might start off with this descriptive approach and then shift into a structured approach. The other thing that we really liked about what we have in our template here at Coda is this Kudos Scrapbook. Because when we go through our jobs, right? It's very easy to get caught up in the mistakes or the things that aren't working. And unfortunately, the human brain just doesn't hold on to positive things as long as it holds on to negative or constructive things. So what we've done is we've created this little Kudos Scrapbook, allowing us to go ahead and keep track of things that are sort of positive things that have happened. So you can go and add a new Kudo, something that maybe you remembered, like I'm really proud of what I did in this thing. Or sometimes what my manager will do is he will grab different Slack messages and just put them in here as far as a Kudo. And it's just a nice way to always remember, like when you need that pick-me-up, to be able to hold on to those things that are really working. Also, when it comes to performance review time, it's so much easier to remember successes, to remember things that worked really well, to be able to share more of that full holistic story of your career in a performance review situation, which is why I really like that here as well. And then the tracking development also really works well for performance reviews because it shows the areas of opportunity, right? Then we included this learn more area because, hey, maybe this is the first time you've ever managed people before, and you want to have some ideas of how to get better at this. We also wanted to make sure that we set the tone for how we think about one-on-ones and the purpose here. So really making sure that we're reminding people, hey, touch base on how you're doing even outside of work, because we are not machines. People are living, breathing things, right? And keeping that sacred, right? So this allows you to add those different elements. So when we think about what we can do here, again, a template is just a starting point. A template is a kind of filled in canvas that you can then color outside the lines on. So what I want to do is I want to go through a couple different areas where we can customize this so that you all can have that same idea in your minds as you're going through that one-on-one process yourself. So the first thing that I want to highlight, it may seem silly, but it's really fun, is just changing up the colors and the aesthetic aspects of a one-on-one template. Right over here, we've got some very basic icons, but maybe I want to change these different icons up. So I could maybe say, I want a wizard hat. Why not? There we go. Here we go. We've got a little wizard hat. Meeting notes. Maybe I don't like the sticky note thing. Maybe I want to have it be something different, like a pencil. I could go ahead and choose that in here. That's kind of fun. And then here, flexible method. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Structured method. Ooh, little Sagrada Familia from Barcelona there. Review goals. Maybe I want this to be a mountaintop. And track development, that seems okay to me, so I'm going to keep that there. Kudos Scrapbook, I'm going to actually make this a corgi because I like them, and go ahead and add those things in there and learning more. So that's the first thing, just changing up the icons. Again, it's a silly thing, but it adds that personal touch. The next thing you can do is you can go, hey, maybe I don't like this cover photo. Maybe I want to have a different cover photo. Something that my manager and I will do is we will change the cover photo based on our mood that day. So for the meeting notes, you know, I'm maybe running this, I'll go ahead and change the cover photo just by coming up here. I can upload an image from my own computer. I can also just choose something. So maybe I want this to be I'm feeling like spring. So I'm going to type spring and just see what comes up. That feels really fun to me, some cherry blossoms. But again, just having this be your space. Then the other thing is that, you know, we've got sort of different colors across the board. Coda, we use orange a lot, but you can go ahead and change these things up, right? Maybe I want this to be pink, and I want the suggested prompts to be purple down here. But having that free reign to add that color, add that personality, so it really feels like home. Right? You don't have to worry about, oh, I'm going to move out of this apartment so I can't paint the walls. Paint the walls of your Coda doc. Go for it. Do it. The next thing is this idea of really thinking about the note-taking aspect. So I'm going to show you again how my manager and I have adjusted ours. So in general, we use the flexible method for just easily referencing kind of where we're going. But one thing that we've done at the top of ours, which I really like, is we've taken some of the elements of that structured method and made a bit of a blend here. So I'm going to get rid of this flavor text. And there are two things that we've done. We have an action items table, and we also have a topics table. And the nice thing about both of these is we just use the basic Coda drag and drop template. So I'm going to type slash and action items. Oh, actually, no, I want to do topic voting. Here we go, voting table. And in this case, we just go ahead and I'm going to clear this template out. So we start from scratch. And we just renamed this to be topics for one-on-ones. And instead of add idea, I just right click on that button and I'm just going to change it so it says add a topic. And again, adding a little bit of that custom flavor, I'm going to make it pink. And maybe I want to have this be a light bulb. Oh, a little lighthouse. That's kind of fun. Yeah, there we go. So now it's a little bit more customized here. And now we have all of this elements. We can go ahead and add those ideas. We can click add a topic and it's all logged in here. So this is the one thing that we have. I then go here and I say, well, I don't want to see anything that we've already marked as done. So I go over to filter, I add a new one, and I say, hey, if done is checked, then I just don't need to see it, right? Oh, actually, no, if done is unchecked, that's what I want to see. But if done is checked, I don't need to see it. So I'm saying, all right, if done is unchecked, show it here. But if I say it's not done, then we can go ahead and check it off and it's no longer in our view. The other thing that I like to do, this is my new thing that I've started, is I like to hide the table names for things like this, right? I just hide the title by clicking a little shish kebab, choose hide title, and then it's just a little bit cleaner here. Then what I do is I also have another one. I'm just going to say a table, and we call this a new table. This is action items, and I can go ahead and say item, signee. So is it for me or is it for my manager? And then is it done? And I can just drag these things around so it feels really comfortable. I'm going to go ahead and make this a checkbox as well. So I'll just change the column type to be a checkbox. There we go. Item. And then I'm going to change the assignee to be a people column. So we've got that there. And now what I'm going to do, because I really like having buttons, we're going to go ahead and hide this title as well. I'm going to add another button up here by going slash and button. And we're going to call this new action item button. And we're going to say, the button should say add an action item. The action we will choose is to add a row. And we're going to add it to that, you guessed it, the action items table. And we're going to open up the row for editing, which means it'll create kind of a form view for us to add those things in. And we're going to go ahead and make this blue. That feels fun. And an action item, maybe we want to have this be like a running thing. So we can go, great. So now I've created a bit of a dashboard here, right? So I could say I want to add a topic or I want to add an action item. And we could go ahead and say the item is order 2 pizzas. And the assignee is Maria Marquis. Just like so. Now the nice thing about this people column is it's going to notify me that that's been assigned. The other thing that my manager and I have done is we've added an email this page button. So we can just email those notes out after the fact. So how we did that is we added another button. And again, I like to have them all appear across the top because I just think it looks really nice. And we're going to call this email notes. And then the action here, instead of choosing one of these pre-made ones, I'm actually going to install the Gmail pack, which means that now this doc is going to be able to send emails on my behalf. So I'm going to go to Explore, Packs and Import, Gmail. I would just sign in to install, go ahead and do my Coda doc, all this good stuff. There we go. It's all connected now. And now I have the power of Gmail right here in my Coda doc. So I can now right click on this button. And now if I go to Actions, notice Gmail is now an option here. And I can choose Send an Email. I'm going to have it be sent from whoever is clicking the button. Then it will be to, here I could put in my manager as well as my email address. The subject would be notes from OneonOne. And then the content, I could just make it be this page. Flexible method. And then go ahead and move that through, make it a nice little yellow, and maybe you want to have the email, the notes there. So I'll just put in my email for now. There we go. So now we've got this really great setup here. So we've got the things up on the top, and we can scroll on down and have our meeting template, copy paste, and be able to go through. So again, and this is just something that we found, we like to have a little structure for these elements, right? Action items as well as the topics. But for the notes taking, we wanted that to be a bit more flexible, so we kind of made it our own. And this is the thing I love about Coda, is just being able to play, tinker, adjust, add, twist things around, and have some fun with it. So the next thing that we can do is we can actually add a bit of our own sort of ideas here. So maybe what we want is we want something to help us stay on track. Because when it comes to one-on-ones, it's so easy to be like, oh, I forgot to prepare, right? It creeps up on us. So another thing that we've done, my manager and I, is we've actually had an automation so that it reminds us to fill in our ideas the day before the one-on-one. So how we did that is we go to our little gear menu over here. We go to automations, add a rule, and we're going to call this the reminder rule. So we know what we're talking about, because if it just says rule 1, we may not know. And then the trigger here is time-based. So we say, all right, our one-on-one is on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. So on Tuesday at 9 a.m., we want to send a reminder. And the reminder is going to be, I can choose to notify, or I can choose this Gmail, or if you are a Slack user, you can actually choose Slack here as well to get just a Slack reminder. We'll just use Gmail for now, just as a bit of an example, since we already have that connected. So we'll say my private email, and then this would be to me and also my manager's email. I could go ahead and put a comma, and then I could say, prepare for your one-on-one. And then the content could be, your one-on-one is today, add any topics or action items. And then we're ready to go. So now this would happen then on a weekly basis. So we don't need to worry about reminding each other or nagging each other. It's all built in to how this is put together. And you can do all kinds of different automations and things like that as well. The only other thing that I want to share with all of you today is, again, that idea of cross-doc. So if there's information in another Coda doc that you want to bring in, you can always do that cross-doc example. So I'm going to go ahead and actually set it up here so you can see how that works. So let's go to Gear, actually Explore, Packs and Import. We're going to choose cross-doc. I'm going to sign in with my Coda account. This is just something you do on a doc-by-doc basis. So you decide which of your docs you want to have cross-docked through. So then I could say I want to search for my OKRs, and then it'll show me all of the tables that I can bring in. And I can go ahead and just drag and drop them wherever I want. Maybe I can even drag them, drop them over here onto the side. Great, we've got our objectives. It's loading in that table's information. And then now we can start to see all of that here as a reference. So we could have all that right there, get all of those updates from that core place by having it in one spot. So just know that that's always available for you as well. All right. So with our remaining time, it's all about you and your questions. If you're unsure about how to make something happen for your particular one-on-one situation, or if you have any Coda-related questions, it doesn't need to be about one-on-ones, now is the time. I want to make sure that everybody gets exactly what they need. So please do let me know how we can support you today. Again, anything Coda-related is fair game. If you've got what you want, I just want to wish all of you a lovely rest of the week. Thank you so much for giving me your most precious resource, which is your time. I take that very seriously, and I hope you find at least a few things you can start to bring in to your own one-on-one practice. Hey, great question, Karina. Is there anything I can share about the bootcamp? Yeah, so bootcamp is, the way that we're thinking about it is we want this to be an offering for folks who want to really up-level their doc building skills, to go into things like, how do you think about the database layer versus the interaction layer versus the presentation layer? It's all going to be done with a blended learning model. So it'll be a cohort. So a group of people will be like the class of Q2, for example. They'll go through it together. There's going to be video content as well as workbook content, so interactive exercises, then a community where you and your cohort are able to have those conversations and do that peer learning together. And also, I'm going to be the primary facilitator, being able to be there as your coach throughout the whole thing. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be really neat. Yes, more information forthcoming. Excellent. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. Also, folks, we do host webinars every single week, and we've got several things coming up. So I recommend heading to coda.io/webinars. This is where we have our full schedule. I'll go ahead and pop that over there into the links as well. And what I'm excited about is we alternate sessions like this, which is very much around rituals, use cases, how to make Coda come alive for different problems to solve. And then we also have formula fitness, which is where we go through the formula language and take different components and do a deep dive of a bunch of exercises to help us all get a little bit better at learning that. The other thing that we have coming up is on April 9th, we are going to be doing a co-hosted webinar with our friends over at Zapier, talking about how to really bring these two things together. And we've also got some other fun announcements coming up as well. So definitely check these things out. We got lots of things going on. I always love to see new faces. I love to see friendly faces. And also tell your friends. Oh, hey, totally, Stephanie. If you're at Zapier, I'd love for you to be there. I'm really excited. It's going to be with Reed. So we're going to be talking about some of the common flows to get started there. Yeah. All right, everybody. What other questions do you have? I am here for you. I've got like 25 minutes, so anything and everything. Fair game. Let me know what's going on. Yeah, Reed is great. I've only just met him, but he's lovely. Any other Coda-related questions? Oh, yes, we can get the link. Let me go ahead and just make sure that I clean that up. So I'm going to go ahead and just stop sharing my screen. I'll get that cleaned up and I'll send it your way. All right. Keep those questions coming. All right. Okay. Any other questions while I'm coordinating a little bit of a cleanup here? All righty. Well, like I said, I'll be hanging out here. If there's anything that you need, just let me know. Ooh, great question. Is the bootcamp going to be asynchronous? Yes, because I understand that we've got folks from all over the world who are Coda users. So the last thing that I want is for time zones to be an impediment. I also understand that we all have, other things that we're doing. We've got jobs, we have families, we have friends, we've got hobbies. So I wanted to make sure it's something that would be accessible no matter where we're at. Yeah. Oh, darn. Link is view only. Let me just make sure I turn on the ability to, there we go. All right, you should now have that capability. Give it a go. Let me know if that works. Yeah, I'm very excited about it because one thing that really is really important to me is accessibility, right? I do not consider myself a tech savvy person. Or like a technical person. I'm pretty savvy, but I don't consider myself technical. And the last thing I want is for Coda to be something that doesn't feel attainable because it feels technical. And I really want it to be something that everyone can have access to. If you're motivated, if you're excited, if you're creative, if you want to build, I want to be able to make that happen for folks. So I'm really excited about creating an opportunity for people of all different backgrounds to come in, learn, grow their skills, and have that kind of community connection. So I'm really excited about it. And again, more information forthcoming. We're in development mode of all the content right now. So excellent. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns, emotional outbursts, things that I can be of service here today? Let me know. Hey, Karina, I also have an engineering partner in my life who happens to work at Coda. And yeah, Coda has been a big way that I've actually up-leveled my technical skills. I was like, oh, if you would have asked me 2 years ago, are you going to be like doing formulaic languages? I would be like, no. What are you talking about? But it's actually allowed me to learn a ton. And I now find that certain other new technical concepts to me, like programming, are becoming a lot clearer. So yeah, I love databases now too. Exactly. So I'm really excited about the fact that it's not something that you need to be a certain kind of person to be good at, right? It's just about sitting down, learning how the thing works, and then being able to apply your own creativity to it. So I'm very excited about kind of opening up that capability for everybody. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Give yourself space and patience to learn. Exactly. Because here's the thing. You're the person. Code is just a tool, right? And everything is figure outable. And giving yourself space and also honoring the fact that even if you make just like a small doc that doesn't have all the crazy bells and whistles in it, if it solves a problem for you, that's an amazing doc. Some of my favorite Coda docs are the simplest. It doesn't need to have all the things to be something to be proud of. If it solves a problem for you, that is something to hold deep pride in. And I am ready to celebrate the small docs, the big docs, everything in between. Yeah, totally. Excellent. All right, folks. Well, it looks like questions have come to an end. So I'll go ahead and close out our session for today. This recording is available. The templates are available. Please do take them, run with them. Remember, you have the power to customize, make them yours. It's just a starting place for your own creativity. Amazing. Stephanie, I love that. Oh, that is exactly what I love to hear. Also, for folks who are thinking about creating ERGs, we do have an ERG playbook Coda doc that was designed by our gender equity ERG here at Coda that I really like. So if you're unsure where to begin, great template to snag. So glad to hear that, Stephanie. That makes my day. Yeah, let me go ahead and grab that. I'll just grab that from the gallery and I'll pop that link into chat. Gallery. All right. ERG. All right. And this is, again, a doc that was built by our gender equity group. And it really just documents kind of how we thought about it, the struggles we had, and sort of the building process. So it offers a couple tools that we discovered that were useful for us. So definitely take it as a starting point, built by my lovely colleague, Rachel Colson, who's fantastic. All right, everybody. Take care. I'll see you next time. Be well, have fun, and I cannot wait to see what you Coda. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.